I've said this many times before. 50 Cent was the love of my life. He was the one that, dang, kind of blew that one. Happens. I was young, had been used to taking care of myself. 50 wanted me to be his princess, and I didn't get it.
BL may have 50 Cent spinning the block. He posted this to his own Instagram. Trolling. One thing about 50, he always spins the block. He never forgets. If he's into it with you, once it's up for.
By the time February 1997 rolled around, Vivica Fox hit the screen in Booty Call, the first big movie I ever saw her in, starring Jamie Foxx, Tommy Davidson, and Tamala Jones. For everybody in high school back then, that movie introduced us to this stunning, talented woman who walked on screen like she owned the whole room. She was around 32, turning 33 that summer, and people couldn't stop talking about how good she looked. Years later in 2003, 50 Cent stepped right up and shot his shot at Vivica at the BET Awards, when she was around 38 or 39, and she still looked incredible. 50 was about 27 or 28, and their connection lit up the whole industry, even though it didn't last long. Their relationship was short but explosive, and the kind that people still bring up decades later. As time moved on, Vivica and 50 split, and 50 switched lanes from just hip-hop into TV and film, leveling up in ways nobody saw coming. Meanwhile, Vivica started building her own lane, selling hair bundles, pushing new business moves, and picking up acting roles when they came her way. But 50 became a whole different kind of powerhouse, and Vivica later showed a little frustration about letting that version of him slip away. Vivica stayed beautiful, no doubt, but then people started noticing changes in her face that came out of nowhere. It didn't look like weight gain. Even around 50 years old, she still had her signature look. But suddenly things shifted and her face looked wider, almost like it had swollen up overnight. Then Tasha K put out her take on what happened and things got even louder. According to what was being said, Vivica was getting Botox injections, which can make your face swell and stretch your skin for a while, which would explain the changes folks were spotting in her public appearances. After that, things took another turn. Vivica started posting AI-enhanced photos that showed her old look, almost like she wasn't comfortable with how the Botox changed her face, and people picked up on that fast. It seemed like she was trying hard to invest in her appearance, but the results didn't match what she expected, at least based on the reactions online. And that wasn't the only thing people were talking about. Tasha K said Vivica not only got Botox, but also got a BBL. And a video from earlier this year went viral showing her at what looked like a hair event in Texas, where people pointed out her new curves the moment she walked in. The clip spread everywhere instantly. But then, out of nowhere, 50 Cent stepped in with his own move. And that's when the whole story flipped again. Before everything blew up again, it really felt like Vivica was low-key looking for some kind of forgiveness from 50 Cent, like she still wanted peace between them. But once 50 cracked jokes about her appearance, you could tell those comments hit her hard, and she never forgot it. Meanwhile, the internet kept clowning her new look, adding even more heat to everything. When Vivica wasn't looking her best, people online turned her into a target, using her as an example of how the world treats you when you're glowing versus when you're struggling. That whole message kept circling around. When you're the it girl, everybody loves you. But when things change, suddenly you're catching all the jokes. Now imagine dealing with Botox, getting a BBL that the internet won't stop talking about, and then hitting your 60s while going on talk shows saying you're ready to date, but guys aren't choosing you. And then on top of that, the man you once cared about, the one you feel like you didn't treat right, wants nothing to do with you anymore. 50 has talked before about how Vivica treated him back when he was younger, saying she acted like he was some little boy she could boss around. And now, years later, he's still dating younger women while Vivica throws a few light shots here and there. It's clear the last 2 decades played out very differently for both of them. 50 took off, and Vivica faced a tougher lane in her career and dating life. But then something wild happened just within the last 48 hours. Vivica was at an event. Nobody knows exactly where. And while she was answering questions, she suddenly dropped a comment that caught everybody off guard. 50 responded to her fast. He said, "Either way, I'm gonna have that ass in the Matrix. You know I love me some, you girl. But damn, it's been 22 years, Vivica, damn. and the internet went crazy. Some folks said he basically told her to come home, while others shut that down immediately, saying, "No, he didn't boo, he do not want her." Kim Whitley even jumped in, thanking 50 like he just saved Vivica from some huge embarrassment. This is interesting because people remember how much disrespect 50 has taken from Vivica over the years, yet Kim Whitley was thanking him for choosing not to humiliate her. She was basically saying, "Thank you for not going off on someone who spent years taking shots at you." Then you had other users pointing out the same thing, that Vivica's been talking about 50 for years, still showing she's got feelings for him even now. And honestly, they're not wrong. There's this expectation that if a black man claps back, he suddenly looks unmanly, but if he stays calm, people act like he just did something heroic. Meanwhile, Vivica has said plenty of things on record, even admitting she's the one who messed up her own love life and still brings 50's name into conversations. More women jumped in saying this was the most polite version of petty they'd ever seen from 50. They said he clearly cared about her feelings, comparing them to two relatives who always argue but clearly still got love between them. Others said his reply was surprisingly gentle. These women clearly see Vivica's behavior for what it is, unprofessional, messy, and long overdue to stop. But they're relieved 50 didn't expose her or drag her. And trust, he could have said way worse, because he's got enough history and receipts to really shut everything down. He could talk about the Botox, he could mention the BBL, he could tear her apart, but he doesn't. And the only reason he doesn't is because he actually feels bad for her. That's the part people don't say out loud. Some successful men see women who used to treat them a certain way. Women who used to have every advantage, now struggling because the attitude doesn't match the beauty anymore. And what worked when you were 33 just doesn't fly when you're 61. Vivica didn't invest in the one currency everybody needs at some point. Real goodwill from the people around you. Being beautiful is great, being talented is great, but none of that replaces having solid character that keeps folks rooting for you when life starts changing. There are a few things that hurt anyone in the long run.
I know a lot of men are getting a lot of enjoyment out of talking about what she looked like back in the day versus what she looked like now and why she didn't want these things when she looked her best. But let's keep it for real. Most people, this is what they do. Most people, when they look their best, when they're in the best position financially, they don't want to settle down. They don't want the people that want them at that time, right? They think they got so many options. They think that so many people want them that they can keep playing around. And then finally, when that money dry up or when them looks ain't the same, then all of a sudden, that's when them standards start dropping and they willing to accept certain things, or they keep the same standards and now it sounds delusional that they want these things when they don't look the same or they not in the same place.
Never owning your mistakes, blaming others when they don't want to deal with you, and thinking you got more leverage than you really do. As you get older, that leverage becomes even more important because the game shifts, and connections matter more than looks ever could. If you're 61, single, and still dating, it's normal to want respect. But expecting people to tolerate everything just because you're you causes problems fast. And when that frustration hits, a lot of folks end up blaming everyone else because holding themselves accountable feels too heavy. That's the kind of situation where people stop getting mad and start laughing, not out of cruelty, but because they've already checked out emotionally. Mature men especially just back away quietly because they see that kind of behavior has no long-term leverage at all. When you're 25, 30, even early 40s, you might feel unstoppable. Good job, good looks, options everywhere, living your best life. But life doesn't freeze in place. And when you start losing leverage, you can't hide it. It shows in how people respond to you, not just how you respond to them. That's when a lot of folks lean into cosmetic work like Botox or surgeries, trying to hold on to the version of themselves they loved the most. Vivica wanted to look better, but the attitude didn't evolve with the image, and that combination just doesn't work long term. You can upgrade your looks, but if the energy stays difficult, that upgrade won't change how people see you. Some start thinking a new shape or a new procedure will suddenly make partners overlook the attitude that pushed them away in the first place. But it never plays out like that. because real connection isn't built on appearance alone. And that's the truth here. Even if Vivica still looked exactly like she did at 40, the dating problems wouldn't magically disappear, because personality and treatment of others matter way more than any cosmetic glow-up. Plenty of people don't understand that until everything catches up with them, and by the time they finally get it, the moment they needed to grow has already passed. By the time everything hits the wall, the last thing people want to admit is that the real problem wasn't their looks. It was the attitude the whole time. Most men can vibe with all kinds of women. Everyone has their preferences, and nobody is everybody's type. But your best shot in life, business or relationships, is being the kind of person others genuinely value and respect. If you don't build the skills that have nothing to do with looks, the patience, the humility, the communication, then when you hit 61 or 70 and you can't rely on physical appeal the same way, all that negativity stacks up fast. And then you end up wondering why no one wants to deal with you, even though the answer has been right there the whole time. That's when some people start pointing fingers at folks who aren't even thinking about them, trying to blame someone who clearly has the upper hand and has moved on with life. So what is Vivica really saying underneath all those comments? It sounds like, 50 Cent, please take me back. I'm sorry. I know the Botox didn't help. I know the BBL isn't giving what I wanted, and dating has been rough. I told my supporters not to deal with rappers, but nobody's lining up for them either. Please don't leave me out here alone. So what do you think about all this? Drop your thoughts below. Hit like, leave a comment, share the video, and make sure you subscribe to the channel. See you in the next one.